Welcome back to the show. You're just in time for Unfiltered. Today's guest has a passion for Alzheimer's research and is the manager of diversity and community outreach for the Global Alzheimer's platform. Please welcome to our show, Miss Paula Atkinson. Paula!
Welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you.
Wow. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come on the show, and thank you for your contribution to Alzheimer's research. We appreciate that. So,
Yes. That's a conversation.
Yeah.
Well-needed conversation.
But
All right, well, let's have it.
we want to know more about your background first. So you grew up in Jamaica, born in Jamaica. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so it will become more and more evident. Can't hide that accent.
I love it.
So born and raised in Jamaica.
Okay.
Met my husband, who happens to live in the U.S. He won me over, so I moved up, and I'm here. But I know prior to living here in the U.S., while in Jamaica, I worked in government.
Okay.
And I guess, no, I'm just jumping into it. I hope you don't mind, right? So worked in government with the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
And a lot of my work just centered around ensuring that policies that were put in place created an environment that allowed people, no matter who you were,
Right.
to have the ability to pursue entrepreneurial adventures.
Wow.
And to have access to being just stable financially, completely enjoyed that. But, moving to a new country, having to reestablish myself, I went and I worked with another nonprofit in the homeless sector.
Okay.
Right.
And that was good. It was eye-opening, seeing how another country addresses a major issue.
Very different.
It is very different,
Yeah.
But while working with that nonprofit, I got on a task force that looked at reviewing the system to ensure that when resources are being distributed, that it was being done equitably, that people were not losing out on opportunities because of their race,
Okay.
or gender or anything,
Okay.
And I completely enjoyed that, but it was a task
Right.
force. So when you hear
Right.
task force, that means it's temporary.
Ah.
So I got to a point where I was like, okay, let me start looking for an opportunity where I could really deep dive into something I enjoy doing. And the more I looked at my entire work life, I enjoyed creating opportunities for people so that everyone can have access, right?
That's good.
And I came across GAP.
Ah.
Global Alzheimer's Platform Foundation.
There you go.
Yes,
I had to
a
get it
real
out.
tongue twister.
I had to practice it a few times myself.
Right?
Yeah.
So you work with Alzheimer's. So did you have a personal connection to Alzheimer's? What made you go into working with Alzheimer's patients?
Absolutely. So when I came across this organization, they're looking for a diversity and community outreach manager, and they intrigued me because growing up, all four of my grandparents, they were either told, oh, they're going senile, or they have some type of dementia, but three of my grandparents were in Jamaica. We don't really have resources in the healthcare industry like we do here in the U.S. And so they weren't even afforded the opportunity to get like a formal diagnosis.
Wow.
And then here, my grandmother that lived here, she went to her primary care and they were picking up some signs, but they essentially were like, it's going to take so long to get a formal diagnosis, but here's some medication that you could take that can help you manage some of the symptoms. So that has always stuck with me. And then when I found this organization and I saw that they are committed to advancing the process of finding a treatment, cure, prevention for Alzheimer's disease, that resonated with me.
Nice.
And then just seeing their commitment to diversity,
Okay.
that also just well, obviously, if you have a position out there for diversity and community outreach, but they're saying that, you know what, when we find a cure, we want to make sure that the cure will work for everyone. So it's not just this group of people, it's also going to be for my people. It's going to be for your people. It's going to be for everyone, no matter who you are, you know? And so, yeah, that's how I ended up at Global Alzheimer's Platform Foundation. Out known as GAP. Not the closed door, but GAP.
So, Paula, I have another question. I hope it's not a silly question, but this is just for the people that may not know, just on a basic level. What is Alzheimer's, just in layman's terms, just for somebody who just may not have a clue?
Okay. So I'll start by saying no question is a silly question.
I told you that this morning.
I was like, I hope it's not a dumb question.
Yes, I learned that one. The smartest kid in my class always asked the dumb questions. When our exams came out, perfect A's. So yes, no question is silly. But what is Alzheimer's? So first off, you'll hear people interchanging dementia with Alzheimer's. So I'll start with dementia.
Okay.
So dementia is an umbrella term for a disease, and then Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia. Because we have different types of dementia out there. But Alzheimer's disease is the most common. All right. And with Alzheimer's disease, you know, you have a decline in your cognitive abilities. And I know, you know, people will say, oh, you start losing your memory.
Right.
But losing your memory, not like I forgot this or forgot that. Because I have mommy brain. I forget things all the time. But when you have like significant like deterioration in your memory, so a good example is not just forgetting your keys, but forgetting how to use your keys. Having your keys in your hand. I know like a personal story I was sharing with my mom earlier. I remember the last time I saw my grandmother, one of my grandmothers in Jamaica, she was sparing leaves outside with a rake. So instead of using a rake in the traditional way, she had it upside down and she was sparing the leaves because she knew she wanted to pick the leaves up. But understanding this is how I use the rake.
Wow.
And that's like my aunt. She forgot to learn how to eat. That's how she eventually passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We have so many more questions, but we got to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Miss Paula Atkinson.
Welcome back to the show. We are still here with Paula Atkins, who is telling us all about Alzheimer's, and we have so much more questions for you. So then you were explaining to us that Alzheimer's is under the umbrella of dementia. It's just a different form. What are some of the telltale signs that someone is developing Alzheimer's? What do you, when you get to that point and say, oh, auntie, I need to take it to the doctor, something is wrong. What does that look like?
I mean, honestly, just targeting your memory. So if you start to notice that your relatives are just having issues doing just simple daily tasks. And you recognize it's not because of a physical difficulty, but it's because they're just not remembering, bring it up to their primary care provider. That is something that you'll want to raise and just ask questions about. And I'll be very honest, with GAP, we partner with a lot of clinical research sites throughout the world. And most of those sites, if you reach out to them, they offer free memory testing. And
I want that.
Yeah, you can reach out to them and they can do like cognitive tests with that person. Now, going to a research site doesn't mean you're saying I'm signing up for something. You're inquiring, and they are more than happy to engage with you and answer whatever questions you may have. So
That's
that's
good.
one thing I will advocate for them on.
Wow.
We need to do that
I
together.
know, because I forget everything.
Hey, I can set it up.
We're serious. We're
That's a
serious,
yes.
Paula.
We're going to do that together.
So, Paula, when it comes to Alzheimer's research, from what I understand, there have been some recent medical breakthroughs. Can you kind of elaborate on what some of those may be?
Yeah, so right now in the clinical research world, there have been several advances. We're looking at potential treatments to slow down the decline of your cognitive abilities. And, you know, there have been some companies that have come out and they're sharing results from what's been happening and what they've been observing. It's really showing something promising.
Wow.
Definitely is. But I will just take the moment to stick in there, though, that we always do want to encourage folks that, you know, folks from our group, you know,
Us.
the African
Us. Yeah, you can say it. Us.
diverse communities. You know, we want to ensure that whatever is coming, whatever treatments they are looking at to bring to the market, that it is effective for us. So we want people to become interested in reaching out and finding out from a clinical research site, how can I become involved?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll quickly stick in there that, you know, African Americans are 2 times more likely to be diagnosed.
Why is that?
You know, that's a good question. It's a good question, but one thing I will say is that research, by the way, revealed that for us.
Right.
It revealed for us that we're more likely.
2 times more likely.
Yes.
Wow, that's high.
Interesting.
But then 35% less likely to get the diagnosis for whatever reasons, and way less likely to even participate in a clinical trial.
Interesting.
Is it when African Americans or, you know, black, brown people, they hear clinical trial, they just automatically think
Red flag.
test dummy, you know, pill.
Yeah.
That's all they think about.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
I completely get that. And I'll be completely honest with you. When I was looking at becoming involved with GAP, I did my research.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yes. I did the whole deep dive, soul searching. Is this something I want to assign to myself? But yeah, I felt comfortable, one, seeing all of the protections that have been put in place. For the clinical research world, there are a lot of rules that they have to follow. There are just certain things that they will not allow to even go to human trials. Or, you know, they're not going to involve anything with humans unless they know it is safe.
So it's okay to trust the research process.
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, at the end of the day, our principal investigators at these research sites, they are neurologists.
Yeah.
They are experts in the area. And they're people who you can speak to about anything.
Wow.
They know what they're doing. I wish we can continue this
I know, this is such a good
We'll
conversation.
probably have to have you back and go and get tested.
Yes.
But guys, we gotta get out of here. That's our show for today.
Yeah.
Paula, thank you for the holiday. So I didn't have his little help around the house, so he came back last night.
I'm sure he was excited to get back home.
He was.
Yeah.
And so was the dog.
Oh, Tyson was gone.
Tyson has a whole jail cell. So my husband found this new cage.
Okay.
And it literally looks like a jail cell. I have to take a picture and
You
bring
need
it
to
tomorrow.
take a picture.
It's so sad.